Moses was born a Hebrew in Egypt at a time of great sorrow. Pharaoh had decreed that all Hebrew baby boys be killed at birth. His mother, Jochebed, desperately sought to save her child. She placed him in a basket and set him adrift in the Nile River.
Look, a baby in a basket. I must take him and raise him as my own.
The basket was discovered by the Pharaoh's daughter, Bithiah. She took pity on the infant and decided to raise him as her own. Moses grew up in the splendor of the Egyptian court. He was educated in all the wisdom of the Egyptians. He became a prince of Egypt. Though raised as an Egyptian, Moses never forgot his Hebrew roots. One day he witnessed an Egyptian overseer beating a Hebrew slave. This filled Moses with anger.
Stop, this is unjust!
He struck the overseer and killed him. Fearful of the consequences of his actions, Moses fled Egypt. He wandered in the desert until he found refuge in the land of Midian. There, he married Zipporah, the daughter of a shepherd named Jethro. For 40 years Moses lived as a shepherd in Midian. One day while tending his flock he came upon a strange sight. There was a bush that was engulfed in flames, yet it did not burn. As Moses approached, he heard the voice of God speaking from the midst of the fire.
Moses, Moses, I have seen the suffering of my people in Egypt. I have chosen you to lead them out of slavery and into the promised land.
Moses was afraid. He did not feel worthy of such a task.
Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt?
I will be with you every step of the way.
Moses returned to Egypt and confronted Pharaoh. He demanded that Pharaoh let the Israelites go.
Let my people go.
Pharaoh refused. He scoffed at Moses and his God. In response, God unleashed 10 terrible plagues upon Egypt. The plagues were a demonstration of God's power. They showed Pharaoh and the Egyptians that the God of Israel was the one true God. The Nile River turned to blood. Hordes of frogs invaded the land. Gnats and flies swarmed everywhere. Pestilence killed the livestock. Boils covered the people. Hail and fire rained down from the sky. Locusts devoured the crops. Darkness covered the land.
I will not let the Israelites go.
Still, Pharaoh's heart was hardened. He refused to let the Israelites go. Finally, God sent the 10th and most terrible plague, the death of the firstborn. At midnight, the angel of death passed through the land of Egypt. He struck down the firstborn son in every Egyptian household, from the Pharaoh's palace to the humblest dwelling. Only the Israelites were spared. The death of the firstborn broke Pharaoh's will. He finally agreed to let the Israelites go. Moses led his people out of Egypt in a great exodus. They journeyed to the Red Sea, where God performed another mighty miracle. He parted the waters of the sea, allowing the Israelites to cross on dry land. When the Egyptian army pursued them, the waters closed back in, drowning Pharaoh and his soldiers.
We are free at last.
The Israelites were free at last. Moses led his people to Mount Sinai, where God made a covenant with them. He gave them the 10 Commandments, a set of laws to live by.
These are my commandments. Follow them, and you will live in my blessing.
The 10 Commandments were a gift from God. They were a way for the Israelites to show their gratitude for their deliverance. The Exodus is a story of faith and perseverance. It is a story of God's love for his people and his willingness to intervene in human history to accomplish his purposes. It is a story that has inspired people of faith for millennia. It is a story that continues to offer hope and encouragement to us today.